Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about making freezer meals as a way of preparing myself for postpartum. And if you are new here, hi, my name is Maria. I do all kinds of videos on homemaking, organizing, motherhood, lifestyle. And if you're interested in any of these, I would love for you to subscribe. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. The first recipe that I'm going to start working on is pulled pork, and because it takes the longest, I want to have it in the crock pot as soon as possible. Usually I would start this in the morning, and then you can either put it on high or low depending how much time you have. As you can see here, I'm making my pulled pork very basic, and that's because when I do reheat it, I can either add barbecue sauce to it and make it barbecue pulled pork, or make it more like carnita style by adding salsa and Mexican spices. I can also leave it the way it is and add it to some boiled noodles, and that's a really great dish as well. Overall, pulled pork is a great staple for us to have in a freezer, and I know I'll be making pulled pork tacos and barbecue pulled pork sandwiches. So here I just made a rub with brown sugar, salt, and pepper, and then I made little slits and put some garlic in there just for extra flavor. And then I'm going to add a little bit of onion on top, some liquid smoke, and a cup of water. Then I'm going to close the lid and forget about it. And then pulled pork will be ready in about 8 hours if you're doing on low, or 4 hours if you're putting it on high. The next recipe that I'll start on is beef stew. And I'm starting it next because it's the second longest meal to make. It just has to be on a stove for about 2 to 3 hours. The hardest part I would say about this meal is that you have to chop all the veggies and the meat. But other than that, it's going to cook on its own. And I'm currently almost 39 weeks pregnant, so being a whole day in the kitchen making all these meals is not the easiest thing for me. But I know it's going to be beneficial because I try to eat healthy and I want my family to have good, healthy meals. We will still be ordering in a lot of food, and we have a lot of frozen pizzas and raviolis and so forth. But again, I feel like home cooked meals are the best way to go. And here I have a pound of fairly inexpensive piece of meat. This is heating up right now because you want to throw the meat into like a hot pan. That way it gets like a nice sear. And then I'm also going to add some garlic that I forgot to show you guys that I peeled, and I just like chopped, like I didn't even chop it. I just like crushed it. And then we'll just take it out later. Anyways, I'm going to add some avocado oil. This is what I like to cook with. So we're going to add some avocado oil, about this much, about a tablespoon or maybe a tablespoon and a half. And then we're going to add the meat, sear it, take it out, and then I'm going to throw in the veggies separately and then sear them, and then we're going to deglaze it with some beef stock. Once the meat is in there, I'm going to let it cook for about 3 to 4 minutes just so it gets nice and brown. And then I'm going to add some salt and pepper. After the meat got some color, I'm going to sprinkle about a tablespoon and a half of all-purpose flour. I also tried using oatmeal flour, which works just as fine, but I had this on hand, and basically what it does, it helps to thicken up the stew. But you want to cook the flour flavor out of it, so that's why I'm adding it right now. I just let it cook for about 2-3 minutes, and then I'm taking out the meat. Now I'm adding all the veggies that I've chopped up just to saute them for 3 to 4 minutes, and tomato paste. So I'm letting the veggies saute for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then I'm going to add some bay leaves, which actually I'm going to add now. And then some Worcestershire sauce, like a teaspoon. And now I'm adding some garlic and beef stock to deglaze the pan, about 4 cups. Lastly, I'm adding the potatoes, the beef, and some fresh herbs. I'm using thyme and rosemary. Those are all my all-time favorite herbs to use. If you don't have fresh, you can also use dry ones. They work just as fine. And then I'm just going to put a lid over it and forget about it for about 2 to 3 hours. This next recipe is super easy to make, especially if you're using rotisserie chicken, which I am in this case, or any leftover chicken. So here, the first thing I'm going to do is throw in some pasta into boiling water, and while that cooks, I'm going to dissect my whole rotisserie chicken. And the reason why I got the whole chicken is because I will be making 2 freezer meals from this. One is this meal right here, the Tuscan chicken pasta, and then I'm also going to be making enchiladas. Once the chicken is dissected, I'm going to shred it. By the time I was done with the chicken, the pasta is cooked, so I'm going to just drain it and set it aside. You guys, this meal comes together in like less than 15 minutes. And right now I'm just sauteing some butter. I know it looks like a lot, but then again, we're using a whole box of pasta. And this is actually a really nice meal if you are really busy during the day and you want a quick pasta dish. You can definitely use this, especially again if you have cooked chicken on hand. Now to the butter, I'm adding some crushed garlic and some dried basil. Again, I'll have the recipe in the description box below for you guys, but you can always add or subtract or use as little or as much as you want of any of these ingredients. And now I'm adding a whole block of cream cheese. I'm going to let that melt into the sauce. Once the cream cheese has melted, I'm adding about a cup of sun-dried tomatoes, and I'm also going to add 2 cups of milk. And the last thing that I'll be adding to the sauce before adding the pasta is some grated Parmesan cheese. And now I'm just going to add a cup of shredded chicken, and you guys, you can also add any kind of vegetable you want. I also have done it with some mushrooms or added some spinach, but since I'm freezing it, I just want to keep it as simple as possible. And plus I have, picky eater. I want to make sure he eats it because I don't think I'll be in the mood of making 5 different meals for dinner, and I know he likes it like this. But again, you can add any vegetable you want. Instead of putting it all in one big tray, I actually decided to do 2 8x8, I believe they are. But they're also cake pans, so I actually ended up removing the plastic top that I'm putting on right now, and I just covered it with foil, and then I wrote the instructions on there. I didn't realize that they were for cake, but I'm not going to make an extra trip to the store, so I just put foil over it, and I'm sure it'll be fine. But overall, I did 2 separate ones because I felt that one big container will, we won't eat it all at once. Moving on to the enchiladas, I'm going to saute half of an onion. You don't have to do this step. I just like it because I love caramelized onions and they give off the sweetness in the filling. So I'm just going to chop it up and throw in some butter in the pan and let it cook on low. While the onions are caramelizing, I'm going to start working on the mixture, and here I'm just adding roughly 2 tablespoons of sour cream, some garlic powder, onion powder, and chili powder, salt and pepper, and green chilies. And here I'm adding some red enchilada sauce and Mexican blend cheese. For some reason, I just love red enchilada sauce. I know there's different kinds, there's green, but I just go for the red one all the time. And now that I've mixed everything in there, I'm going to add the caramelized onions that cooled off a little bit. At this point, you can just taste it and see if you want to add more seasoning, like more salt or some more cumin or chili powder, whatever you ended up putting in there. Here I'm ready to assemble my enchiladas. The first thing I'm going to do is pour a little bit of sauce to the bottom of the pan, and then I'm going to start putting them in there. I know this is a little bit time consuming because you're doing all the rolling. However, these are really easy recipes and they're really hard to mess up. Before putting the lid on the enchiladas, I'm just going to put some more cheese on top so I can just pop it in the oven and it will be nice and cheesy and bubbly and delicious, so I don't have to do anything at all. For the enchiladas, I got 7 of them instead of 8. I was hoping to get 8 so it's even, but it is what it is. But as you can see, they're super easy to make and they're really, really good. I'm just gonna put some cheese on top, close them, and again, write the instructions, how to reheat them. I didn't do that like when I froze a few meals before, and that was a big mistake because first of all, I didn't label them, I didn't write them, so lesson learned. And it's nice knowing that you have a really nice homemade meal 20 minutes away. You don't have to drive anywhere, you don't have to order food, you don't have to, just cook or anything, just pop it in the oven and it's ready in 20 minutes or so. And now I'm on to Lactation Bites, which are extremely quick and easy to make, and they're perfect to make ahead of time because you could just pop them in the freezer and then when you want them, just take it out and have it as a snack. I know when I was breastfeeding my son, I was constantly hungry, and these will satisfy the hunger because they're packed with lots of energy. They say that oatmeal, brewer's yeast, healthy fats such as peanut butter and flaxseed can help to increase mother's milk supply. So here I'm throwing all of that goodness and mixing it all together with some honey, and I added some chocolate chips. You can also add shredded coconut. I just prefer to add chocolate chips to it, but whatever additionally you want to add, you can most definitely do that. But overall, these are super handy, they're healthy, and they're hearty. Once I combined all of the ingredients, I did put it in the fridge for about an hour. And now I'm just rolling out the dough into little balls. By this time, beef stew is already cooked and completely cooled off, and now I'm just gonna put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer. Normally I would prefer it to have more liquid, but since I'm freezing it, I'm okay for it to be a little bit on the thicker side. And then when I'm reheating, I can always add some more beef stock or even water. Don't know what we have to do, but something's gotta change. And now I'm just going to shred my pulled pork that's already cooked, and you see how easily it just falls off the bone. And it's already cooled off because I don't want to put hot meat into a plastic bag, but it's completely cooled off, so I'm just going to shred it, and that's it. So this is it for my meal prep video. I hope it gave you some ideas and maybe some motivation to meal prep. You don't have to be a mom, expecting mom to do these freezer meals. They're just really handy, and you know you made it from scratch, you know you made it yourself, and it's only 20 minutes away from a good home cooked meal. And I just feel like I have less anxiety that I have these meals in my freezer because I will not be able to cook for the first few weeks, and sometimes it's just nice to have like a home cooked meal. So that's why I'm doing this, and I'm not gonna lie, I am tired. It took me almost 5 hours to do all this, but I think it's worth it because now I have food for weeks. So hopefully this can give you some inspiration and make some freezer meals for yourself. And again, you don't have to be a mom or expecting mom to make them. It could be any one of you. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it can help some of you guys out there. So if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.